Hey, you know this MSC, those teams that usually get the first lot lose the whole game. It's an interesting fact. SRG playstyle now leaning towards, I think, two main heroes. One is CC. And you know, whenever they play with CC, they always gang the top lane. Like 4-man, always gang the EXP lane. They always do 4-man EXP lane. Then they try and snowball off the CC so that the CC will be able to win the 1v1 all the way. Then their other gameplay is they like to play Kalia a lot. Their pick-off with Kalia is very good. So, if I'm TLPH, I will try to draft against these two or even ban out these two. Like, I think previously, if you watch the RQ series, they always ban CC because they cannot find the answer to the CC. Very standard now lah, very Susin. Very anti-assassin heroes. Fasa is Stormy's most comfort hero. So usually if Fasa is open, Stormy will just instant lock it. Because throw Fasa is just a very strong and fast-pacing mid lane. A lot of teams, they like to prevent the Fasa throw combination. I think the Grot is very good into choosing in the laning phase. And this is not looking good for TLPH. Once the mid got rotation, they just keep playing the CC lane. Team Liquid wants to help the Lapu, but SRG is preventing them.
Lapu got more impact than CC the turtle. So like I feel CC just deny the Lapu buffing. Don't let the Lapu join the fight.
Oh, now they quite stressed. They need to help the Cloud, they also need to help the Lapu. The Gato play the top side, the Sanji play the bottom side. Like usually you see the mid duo always stay together. But now they decide to split because they know both lanes losing. But the downside is if they rotate back, very easily I think late game SRG skills better as well. CC, Fasa, Bruno. Compared to Claude, Lucin, and Lapo. Yeah. Okay, second turtle, looking like a 5v5. They're trying to chunk Yums use ulti.
This doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Skies actually died first. Oh my god, that knockup from Sanji. I think also because Sanford was losing very hard on the lane. So like when he entered the team fight, he's quite behind. I feel like now they really have to give up all objectives and start trading objectives. So in order for TLPH to come back, they need to stop fighting, trade objectives, and let the clock play macro. Because SRG's team comp, they don't really have things to do with macro. But the thing is now also quite hard because OHAP has no items. They are very good at snowballing the CC lane. It might turn the game for them. Crab made a mistake. This will give Sanford some space to play in the lane. The good thing about them is they actually focus Innocent this team fight. Innocent died, that's why they sort of had a chance lah. So in order for them to win the next team fight, they have to do the same thing and kill off Innocent first. I feel if they wanted to fight this CC, they need a very strong mid lane. They shouldn't play Jusin and Gato into the Grok Fasa. Grok actually helped the Fasa have a very strong lane phase. Even though they are losing, but you can see OHAP is doing a lot to all the lanes. You can see that their lanes are actually winning in pressure. He's like constantly running around the map and shoving those minion waves, farming those minions. They make it to a point where if SRG commits into a fight, they are losing some minions at the side lane. I think this fight, Cortese got a very bad position. Then Skies also did a very nice play where he spin Cortese already, then he spin Sanford. You can see that TLPH, their macro is always so good to a point where they always have one side lane that have minions winning. I think also because SRG, like what I said, they don't really have a long lane. And I feel that TLPH is abusing that very well. It's very hard for them to melt the front lines, I feel. Clock can't really do much.
Oh no.
And I think that's what like most Singaporeans don't do. They usually like to commit everything into the backline, but they never protect their own backline. Sky's really like MVP for these games. His Archive spins them on board. I feel they made a choice to fight the CC, but the plan didn't work out well. I think the Grok pick actually made the difference. And you see all the team fights. Sky's really played the Archive well. He always made the effort to spin Cortese, then spin Sanford. What I'm predicting for the next draft is they will definitely close the CC. Or maybe they will just deny the Fasa. I think take the Fasa away to fight the CC also. I'm not a big fan of Jusin plus Fred because while early game is good, the late game damage is so bad. Jusin now is very high priority pick. Jusin plus Fredrin, they are very high priority picks now because they are very anti-assassins. So by drafting towards Jusin Fredrin, it sort of forces the enemy to go into a tank jungle team composition, which SRG did. And by forcing them into a tank jungle team composition, they actually closed the CC this time and they sort of looking to fight the Kalia. What TLPH could have done is that instead of banning the CC, instead of banning the Kalia, they could have first picked the Kalia and CC as well, but they didn't. I think teams that draft essentially now has a lot of options, flexibility in their drafts because they can opt for a double fighter team composition. Gato, very good pick. Strong early game. Very good deterrence into Fasa as well.
I think they're not scared of Beatrix.
I think SRG will either pick Granger or Beatrix. for the burst damage to follow up with Kalia. And the beauty of Jusin is you can actually run tenacity on its emblem. That's what most Jusin does when they are fighting assassins. It really boils down to how they play. But I would say this is their comfort draft. Harif Beatrix very even matchup also. Like cannot kill anyone. YSS Lancelot matchup. Both junglers quite easily cannot event. Stormy went to the EXP lane. But he never net gang, he just went up to take the EXP crap. TLPH always picks the weaker mid lane, damn shy. Their mid lane is always losing in the priority. You need to have either Hylos Sakato or like Tigre. Those are things that make YSS very hard to play. End up they don't even play the jungle. They actually play the EXP. So first turtle fight, what I want to point out also is because both goal laners are heroes that can shove the wave very easily. I just felt Innocent had more impact than Oheb in the turtle fight. So very standard play. First 2 minutes playing for EXP turtle so that both teams try to help the goal laner. Why is Beatrix high risk, high reward? Because most Beatrix they want to take flicker. Very seldom you see Beatrix go for Purify. I think most Beatrix, you want to play like how Innocent play. You always want to shove out the lane fast, rotate to team fights, and get kills off team fights. Very standard gameplay with their Beatrix clear. You see, the Beatrix will shove the wave, start coming mid. Skies, his lens this game is probably choking. Especially there isn't any much crowd control to stop this lane slot. He should be doing more. I feel like Sanford shouldn't go for Skies here. Very hard to commit to a lens. They are playing with Valentina and Harif. They don't really need to peel for the backline. Harif and Valen can self-sustain, but I feel this game the Napu should go for the backline. What pro teams will do. At 8 minutes 15 seconds, Beatrix burn flicker. In this 2 minutes window, especially the lot is coming up, they will know that the Beatrix has no flicker for this lot. I think last time I actually does this a lot as well when I was playing with them. Before every big objectives, they like to anyhow ulti the backline, like burn spells first. So like just now Innocent out of position, they just ulti burn his flicker. And then when the lot is going to come up, then they will know that Innocent has no flicker. This slot 100% TL will contest because they know Innocent got no flicker. But either way, I feel like it's very hard to ulti anyone of TLPH team composition. Anji has Purify, Oheb has Purify, Sanford has 2 CC immune. So I think TLPH came into this game very prepared, fighting the Kalia pick, which worked out quite well for them compared to fighting the CC pick in the first game. How did SRG start losing? When Innocent burnt his flicker and Innocent kept dying in the fights if you didn't realize it. Skies is not performing well on the lane slot as well. The gist of SRG team fight is Kalia needs to ulti someone, Beatrix grenade launcher, snipe off someone, but they cannot pick off anyone. That's why the Kalia draft isn't working very well for them in this game. Team Liquid sort of, maybe in the first game they were testing, so they were trying to fight the CC pick first. Then they realized they cannot fight CC pick, so this game they tried to fight the Kalia pick, which worked out very well for them. Like if you pick a Lancelot and not have that much of an impact. I'd rather you don't play Lancelot. Valentina plus Harif. And it makes Lancelot very hard to kill off anyone. I would say their draft sort of one stone kill two birds. Can fight Kalia, can fight Lancelot. What TLPH want to do now is to buy time so that their bottom wave will enter. I just didn't expect like the Lens to do so badly, but okay. So I feel 2 things for SRG is they need to either refine their Kalia draft, banning things so that the Kalia can be more effective, or they need to have another team composition that can help them with other than the CC and Kalia. SRG will be very stressed because if Lens open now, I pick, I also die. I don't pick, I also like. The moment Beatrix don't have flicker, it's so easy to run him down. TLPH, I feel you can see that they plan you purposely burn the Beatrix flicker. Whenever they no flicker, they will straight away team fight. If they want to pick the Lens, maybe they can think of banning the Harif and Valentina. Coach, why is Kaja not meta compared to Kalia? Is it because of Kalia heals for mid prio? Kalia has very strong laning phase as compared to Kaja. Kaja's laning phase is not the best. Easier for Kalia to catch someone as compared to Kaja. Kalia has double dash. If I want to draft against a Kaja, I'll pick things like Tigro, Kufra, Akai, or maybe any tank jungle. Kaja is just very squishy in early game as compared to Kalia. Kalia can heal more than Kaja. A lot of downsides to Kaja as compared to Kalia. You need to pair it with a very strong mid lane mage. And usually if I want to pick a Kaja, I might pick a tank jungle. Game 3, being very interesting. I think it's more of how SRG is going to find answers now to fight against TLPH. CC draft always worked out for them, but TLPH realizes that and now they started banning the CC. SRG is left with their Kalia draft. First pick Kalia, very comfort draft pick. What SRG needs to do now is they really need to make sure that this Kalia pick can work. Lancelot really didn't work out for them and they didn't have confidence to pick the Lancelot anymore. That's why they banned it. TLPH is very prepared against SRG because SRG, they only have 2 weapons, CC draft or the Kalia draft. TLPH has answers for the Kalia. Then they just need to plan how to fight this Kalia well. And I don't think Foveus is good into Kalia. Foveus is just not that good into Kalia. Especially if the enemy teams play Kalia very well. I think if got Baxia, don't need ban Beatrix. Beatrix is quite bad into Baxia. I realize the EXP matchup now very important. If your EXP got a very bad matchup, the game very hard to play. Last time it was easier to draft because EXP was all the tank EXP. Very standard, Granger forwards. By picking two hard tanks, the Kalia very hard to outplay the front line. They catch one of the hard tank, the other hard tank can set. Usually teams they pick one pseudo tank and one hard tank. Kalia can ulti the pseudo tank. See better teams draft against Kalia now, they pick two hard tank. Guys is snowballing very well in this game though, compared to the previous. TL has the better late game, and also they have a Moskov doing the split push. I feel like Innocent play all these early rotation heroes very well. Like Granger Beatrix. Not looking good for TLPH this game. TLPH wants to do is whenever the Moskov does the split push, they need to be more disciplined. TLPH just didn't did that very well, giving window for SRG to start a fight. When you play Baxia, you're supposed to have a very strong early game, and the Baxia isn't supposed to melt like this. You pick Baxia and your Baxia don't snowball early, means things really isn't looking good. Innocent got locked down first, so they managed to get Innocent and Stormy down, and then from there, they started winning the fight. So I think Sanford suddenly went in with Kautizi. Sanford actually did a very sick play and carried the team fight. Went into some kind of bush and reroute himself and suddenly sneaked behind into Innocent. I feel like Innocent did a very good job snowballing the early mid game. I feel Team Liquid, the micro mechanics is really just very annoying. Like both times Innocent died, he didn't even burn flicker because it just happened so sudden. Team Liquid, they are really exploding the team fights, man. Their micro mechanics is just superior. They all have the same picture in their mind. Like they can visualize, okay, we are going to do this, we're going to do this. Okay, my teammate Sanford is going to do this. I know he's going to do this, so I go in with him. You can see that they are very synchronized. They have a very insane synergy level. Bro, they were losing like 3 to 4k gold and Sanford made a play to carry them. CC draft isn't working, Kalia draft isn't working. They need to find a new weapon. TLPH clearly has very good answers to SRG taking compositions. Banning the CC. SRG is very handicapped now because they realize that the landslide is not working out well for them. Oh, this game, we will actually see something very different coming from SRG. A lot of things are open to fight landslide as well. There's the Badang, Fredrin. I don't think SRG will play Roger here. Roger actually very bad into Glue and Juicing. Maybe they're trying to set up for the Roger. If not, there's no reason to ban Granger. I feel like let's fight Granger quite well. In order for SRG to win, they need to have new weapons. This might be one of their weapons. Like instead of the Roger, it's a Kimi. Not sure how well is Kimi here though. Into Hilda, honestly not feeling it. But the very good thing about Kimi here is that he can prior the lane. I think also because they had the Hilda. I mean, probably that's why they dropped the Hilda also. It came with a game plan. Can see they really very prepared to like fight whatever in the EXP lane. I think this game very different from the previous games where you see Innocent rotate together with OHAP. I think what they had in mind was because Sanford died first, so I think SRG told Innocent to just stay in the goal lane because they already have the numbers advantage. But for TLPH, they needed OHAP to join the team fight because the Kimi pick is very underwhelming. Not sure what they had in mind. Innocent should have rotated for the first turtle also. Kimi needs to join the first turtle fight. But TLPH is just playing like is their base. SRG and JB, what they're doing? They are playing around the mid tier 2 tower. Do you see how aggressive they play with this Glue Hilda choosing? Cut the mid tier 2 tower like this. Then you see, can still continue to fight. I think that's the power of Glue, Josin, and Hilda early game also. Like, these three together really very solid. They are playing their hero limits very well. Like this, cutting the mid tier 2. They recognized it was 5 minutes. Sanford didn't need to stay at the EXP lane anymore. And then they started making a play at the mid tier 2 tower. The lane slot isn't working well. And the Kimi is question mark also. Maybe his lens is good, but he's just getting out micro. If not, you see the Hilda Glue keep walking into the jungle. Then Skies cannot really farm. And then the worst is they actually managed to zone the mid tier 1 tower. I think that's the game winning play. Like the three of them zone the mid tier 1 tower and get the mid tier 1 tower. From there it just went haywire, right? OHAP actually managed to solo kill Skies. Yeah. It just didn't seem like a first pick worthy for Team SRG. SRG only had 2 drafts to rely on. And once TLPH have an answer to Kalia, SRG is quite hopeless. SRG has clearly given up on the land slot pick. This time they picked the Arlet instead of the Kalia draft. Really very catered towards EXP lane also. That's how important EXP is. Skies has decided to go on a tank jungle, Fredrin. Now, because Skies is playing a Fredrin, there's a chance they might not play the Hayabusa anymore. It's very easy for Badang to make a mistake. I think it's quite predictable. TLPH game plan for this draft, really getting the early prior on the goal lane, joining team fights, winning the early team fights, and snowballing the game. SRG, if they manage to drag the game into probably 12-15 minutes, Moskov scale up quite good here. And I'll say Kautizi puffing is so good this game. SRG really good deep well here is they managed to orient Kautizi. Once Kautizi is dead, it's very hard for TLPH to continue fighting. This game Innocent is also very prepared for Sanford. And you can see Sanford every team fight really just going for the goal lanes. Okay, this turtle is the game deciding factor. Choosing is such a good pick now. Like you see the way Sanji play is damn utility, and then you cannot die at all. What SRG didn't do right in this game is they drafting too many pseudo tanks into a Granger and Juicing. They don't have a front line that can handle the burst from Granger. But at the start, you can see Sakai's he's quite tanky, but now he's also melting. And I feel this Cho pick is not doing anything. Baxia Matilda is really quite mobile on the map. Like the Baxia can roll, then the Matilda can bring the Granger over. I feel like TLPH is just very prepared. They keep picking like double hard tank. I feel Ohab was very normal. Like he just very consistent, but he never really made any plays. More like Sanford, Cortese or Sanji. Either one of them. JP also like very normal.
Finals MVP.
If I were to choose, I think I'll give it to Sanford. Okay, I think that's the end of the stream. So yeah, thanks everyone who has been watching with us. Hope you guys learned something.